Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about how not all narcissistic people forget their lines and how not all victims remember what happened to them in great detail. When it comes to liars, we are often led to believe that at some point they will forget the lies that they told and they will get caught out on these lies. Now, with a narcissist that's acting impulsively, that's just acting on instinct, that's just trying to save their skin in the moment, can often forget their lines. And these are the kinds of narcissistic people that are going to be a bit more undercover and move from one group of people to another. Then you can have a narcissist that's a lot more cunning, a lot more calculated, and in one aspect knows exactly what they are doing, and they are playing a role, and they are extremely good actors at playing this role to make sure that they get the adoration, the attention that they are seeking. They are very well aware of their surroundings. They are very well aware of people who are watching, and they are going to sell people an illusion of the identity that the narcissist has created, that they want the other people to believe in. And these narcissistic people rarely to never forget their lines, because they've created their identity, they've created their persona based on the person that they're selling to others, and they can remember things remarkably well. They're looking to exploit people, and one way they exploit people is by doing things for people in front of people, by being kind to people in front of people, by giving people things in front of people. If you want to know somebody's true character, it's watching the things they do when they think nobody is watching them. With a narcissist, a grandiose narcissist that's coming at you with that charismatic charm, you'll often find they do for others when people are watching them. It's behind closed doors that they change the game. Yet, because they've sold the outside world that illusion, when the victim behind those closed doors speaks out, the victim is often shamed, blamed, criticised and ridiculed, because nobody could believe that that narcissist that's so kind and charming in public could be so hurtful and spiteful behind closed doors. Some narcissistic people are extremely good actors that remember their lines very, very well. And it's those that are very good actors that you need to be careful of, because they put that grandiose act on, they put that charismatic charm on when people are watching them, to gain that admiration, to gain that attention, to gain that support, to enlist people into trusting them and believing them, and enlist people into thinking that the narcissist is such a nice person, such a helpful person, such a kind person. In public, when people are watching them, they will give when people are watching, they will help when people are watching, because they're expecting that praise, they're expecting that reward, they're expecting that recognition. Pumps up their ego, which often causes that arrogance within them, because it's not confidence. They haven't built confidence within themselves, because it's not who they are as a person. They're selling people an illusion to gain that attention. So they've got that arrogance. They're unpleasantly proud of how they can manipulate people, how they can deceive people so that they can exploit people. They're selling people an illusion. They're morphing into a role to influence others into admiring and liking and supporting them. And it becomes their identity. And the more people praise them, the more people praise them, the more the narcissist believes that they are a genuine person when they're actually exploiting people. And they almost become unpleasantly proud of their inadequacies. They become extremely arrogant, and anything that they then step out of line on, so to speak, because they're unpleasantly proud of who they are as a person, because they are unpleasantly proud of their mistakes and their inadequacies, and because they've got the backing and support of those around them, they'll make light of the negative things they do. They'll make jokes about the negative things they do. They will recognize the mistakes that others make, and they will play to the empathy, the compassion on the mistakes that other people make, so that they get people supporting them. So if a narcissist can act differently with a drink, so they might go to a party and trash the home, and this isn't really a good thing. Most people would look poorly on a person for doing this, whereas a grandiose narcissist that's put on that charm, that's gained the admiration, most people then believe that that narcissist has stepped out of character, that that narcissist needs help, that that narcissist needs support, and the narcissist will make a laugh and a joke about it, that, oh, well, we all make these mistakes, don't we? It wasn't really that bad. And most people then end up supporting and trying to help the narcissist, when realistically they just stepped out of the character that they're trying to show people, and show people who they truly are. Yet when narcissistic people show people who they truly are, we tend to not believe them due to the illusion they sold us of who they can be in front of others. And when someone calls a grandiose narcissist out, when someone recognises what the narcissist is doing, narcissist behaviour, when someone criticises them, when someone says no to them, a narcissist can play no end of mind games to punish that person, because they've lost control of the illusion that they're selling to that person. They've lost control of that person's perspectives on that narcissist. So if the narcissist cannot rule them through love, they're going to rule them through fear, and they're going to punish them. They're going to go all out to try and destroy them. And with a narcissist, it's a game that they seek to win because of their own paranoia, because of their own entitlement, because of their own envy, because of their own character that they've built up, that they don't want to be destroyed. If they need to play the victim, they will go on the role of playing the victim, but they will do it in a way where they more go quiet. They don't get all up in their feels about it. They don't get all emotional about it, because they are very emotionally stunted in that sense. They just go quiet, and they let people sympathise with them. They let people go, oh, poor them, oh, after everything they've been through. And they suck up this attention. They enjoy this attention. But they do it in a manner of poor me, without going too emotional on people. You have to watch out for those that lack in emotions in certain aspects of their lives. Narcissistic people tend to rewrite history, and they do it depending on who is around them, who is watching them. So a narcissist might tell one set of friends one story, and they might tell their family another story, depending on the role they're playing with those people. And they will remember, because they're playing a role with that set of friends, they're playing a role with that family. So they will morph into that role with that family, and they will remember their lines. They will morph into that role with their friends, and they will remember their lines. The issue comes when they have somebody with them that sees them around both sets of people, that can recognise the lies. And if they call them out and say, hang on, you said this to them, they're going to seek to punish the person who speaks against them. Now, when it comes to survivors of narcissistic people, sometimes they can have cut their emotions off due to the emotional stress that they've been living under. Sometimes they can be extremely emotional due to the stress that they've been living under. Some victims remember what happened to them very, very well. Some people can remember the exact events, the exact timeline. It's imprinted within their mind. They know exactly what happened and they can speak their truth with clarity and ease. Other victims can't. Some victims remember exactly what's been done to them. They remember the dates, they remember what happened, they remember the pain. The pain of that moment has sort of ingrained on their memory the image and the situation that's happened. And because they're living that moment, whenever they think about it, they're still locked in that pain. They can become incredibly emotional. And when they become incredibly emotional, they can remember their lines or they can forget the lines because it's all jumbled up, it's all muddled up. They can't fully express their emotions, they can't fully express what they're feeling. They've also been conditioned into not explaining how they feel by the narcissist, but due to being gaslighted and told that they're too sensitive, they're imagining things, they're crazy, no one would believe them. So they almost daren't speak out their truth through fear of repercussions if they do, and it all becomes a muddled up jumble within their minds. So some survivors remember exactly what happened and can explain it in great detail, and it can be incredibly painful. Others can't fully remember what happened. Living under stress within a narcissistic relationship, living under any form of stress affects your mind. Living under the stress with a narcissistic relationship impacts your memory, your mind in so many negative ways. The stress can affect your mood, so you can start having mood swings, and because you're losing control of your own emotional regulation, you can have your mood swings in front of others. You can lash out in front of others. The victim can lash out in front of others. The survivor can be the one that lashes out in front of others. And then people look poorly on the survivor who's lashing out, who's become all emotional, and look positively on the narcissist who's trying to help them oh so much and trying to support them and trying to be there for them. So the narcissist who's destroying the victim is the one that gets the sympathetic attention, because people don't recognise what the narcissist is doing to that person, the stress that the narcissist is causing to that person, which is causing the mood swings within that person that that person cannot control because they're not acting, because that is what's actually happening to them. So they lose control of their emotions in front of people. They lash out at people, they push people, they shove people, which they know they shouldn't do, but they've lost control due to the stress. And due to the stress, they have difficulty solving problems. They have difficulty making decisions, and the harder it becomes making decisions, the more stressful life becomes and the more emotionally reactive they become. And it can have a negative impact on memory, being unable to recall events, or when you're trying to recall an event, jumbling the words up, not getting out in order what happened, saying what happened last first, and then trying to backtrack as you try to explain the situation because you've been trained into explaining yourself because the narcissist always discredited you. And whenever you did explain yourself, you were criticised and judged and mocked and put down and made to feel like you were in the wrong. So it becomes very difficult to explain what happened in a detailed order of what happened. It becomes very difficult to remember when things happened and how things happened. Due to the trauma, some people can block it out. When it comes to the trauma, some people connect that emotion to the memory, and the memory brings up the emotion and they remember very well. Other victims, when it comes to the trauma, they block bits out. So when they're saying what's happened, they blocked bits out and they can't fully piece it together because bits are missing from their memory, because they're too painful to process, because they couldn't believe somebody could treat them that way. So they're going to stumble on their words. Most narcissistic people will pause for their words. However, survivors can do this too, as they're trying to figure out what fully went on as they're trying to recall things, as they're trying to remember things. Some narcissistic people, because they can remember their lines, can just reel it off like a script without any pauses. Some victims, because they just want to get it out and get it off their chest, can just reel it out straight away. And from all the gaslighting of a narcissist, all the mismatch of realities, a lot of victims end up very confused, very disorientated. They tend to play down the abuser's behaviour due to the abuser saying it wasn't that bad, it didn't happen, you know what I'm like, you should leave me alone when I've had a drink, you know I don't like getting up early, you disturbed me. So they tend to blame themselves, and because they blame themselves, they question themselves, and doubting events themselves. A narcissist will deny things happen, so victims can doubt themselves. So when it comes to a narcissist and a victim, you cannot tell who is who by who remembers their lines and who doesn't, because some narcissistic people can remember their lines very well. Other narcissistic people will often end up forgetting what they've done and what they've said. Some victims can remember what happened very well. Some victims can forget what happened. Now, when you're dealing with a grandiose narcissist that remembers their lines very well and has a support of the masses, they can almost create a mob mentality as they get people to isolate the victim from support. And this is when the victim is best off just leaving well alone. The narcissist will reveal themselves to enough people over time. It's painful waiting for time to happen, but this is when the victim is trying their best just to move on, because a grandiose narcissist can destroy a victim that's speaking out simply with enough enablers to help support the narcissist. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers, and your continued support with the channel is greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, this channel is all about narcissistic behaviour, to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, then please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. Thank you very much for listening. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.